All right. Yeah. Twitter's having some issues. Maybe I should stop bringing up Twitter because that Twitter spaces. But let's get all the Facebook groups in here. So we're officially Monday morning then, 12/6. Couple months until I turn 30. Man, looking down the barrel on that one. But good
Couple
morning.
months. When's your birthday? February?
February 6th. So I'll be turning dirty 30 February 6th. So woof, getting up there. I don't want to make anybody feel too old there, but welcome in, guys. It is Monday morning, December 6th. It is 6:32 a.m. where I'm at, 7:32 probably where you're at, unless you're joining us across the seas. And it is, 10:32, 9:32 where you're at, Scott? How you doing? Good morning.
Yeah, 9:32. I looked in the mirror and was like, wow, I am old. Eyes are a little red and watery this morning.
Yeah.
These I don't do primetime games and then work after primetime games and all that stuff. So it was about a 3 a.m. I think I fell asleep about 3 a.m., 3:15. Got up at 8-ish. So it is Broncos for breakfast, coffee time.
We need to do it. We need to work through those demons and kind of process what happened last night. I actually went to a Broncos bar in Seattle. It was pretty fun. But kind of doing those things as you would pre-sick bug going out there in the world and doing stuff like that. But it's not the outcome we wanted, but the outcome probably most of us expected. Let's say hello to some people in here. Oh, go ahead, Scott.
No, I think that's it. If you go back and look, we talked about it's the Chiefs were a 10-point favorite for a reason.
Amen.
And we said this was not necessarily a must win. Now, depends on what are your expectations for this team. I have no expectations this is a contender for to make a run in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Is it a must win to make the playoffs? No, I don't think it was a must win to make the playoffs, but if you maybe eke through a divisional game or a wild card game, then you're going out the next round. So, what were your expectations going in? And, talking to a lifelong Atlanta sports fans, my expectations are always pretty dang low. So, I said, you're rarely disappointed. You're just always a miserable SOB.
Yeah.
But, there's certain things in here that you would like to have seen done better without a doubt. And we'll get into that over the course of the next hour.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Sean Burns coming in here. Good morning, Sean. Saying good morning. Looking forward to the offseason, new coaching and quarterback. Sean, man, we'll see if that comes true. We got 5 games still left to play, and one of them against the Lions. So things can.
I think it's a pretty safe bet.
You think it's a safe bet? All right.
I think it's a safe bet.
Well, we'll see. I wish I felt a certain way about a single one of these 2022 quarterbacks, but right now I'm in the I can miss every single one, blast them all into the sun. None of them give me any good feelings. We got EJ coming in saying, good morning, Nick and Scott in Broncos country. DWI guys, good morning to you. US Dave, buenos dias. Let's start. Haha, we can't beat those bozos if we stop shooting ourselves in the foot. They did shoot themselves in the foot a lot. And I'm looking at the team stats here. We'll get into it after we do the reads, but the Broncos actually, there's some key metrics here that the reason they lost probably. Clee coming in 20 plays, 0 points. Yeah, got to score touchdowns, but that one hurt. US Dave also, the more we play, the more we're able to focus on the true ineptitudes we possess. Well, Dave, that one's pretty dark. Hopefully we can get a little better there.
Basically saying with a greater sample size, we see all the deficiencies of this team.
Yep. Husky Hardcore coming in here. Maybe that's Husker Hardcore. Should have fired Vic weeks ago. Fire him now just in case he starts winning to make the playoffs. Don't want to give Denver an excuse to keep him. DBA's in the house. Good morning to you, DBA. Miguel Santa Steven. Good morning, fellas. Great to see you. Percy. Go ahead.
Stefan.
Santa Stefan. Yeah, for sure. Percy Phillips. We need Watson. Dalen Joseph. Good morning. Good morning to you. Yvonne coming in here. Good morning. Wow, what a game. At least we know JW is the real deal. Yeah, he looked really good. Mark Lindemode. Good morning, Broncos country. Scott and Nick. Dave Glassman's in the house. Nick, I know you said a loss wasn't the end. Hope you're the end of hope, feeling pretty hopeless. Yeah, we'll be back on that horse next week, no doubt about it. Greg Smith, top of the morning, Broncos country. Great to see you. Bama X saying meh, morning Broncos country. Keith saying it's 4:30 a.m. in Scotland when the crap got done. Woeful. Matt Francis in the house. We got to draft another quarterback in the draft. Which one would be the draft? Man, I don't feel good about any of these quarterbacks. We'll have all offseason to talk to those guys, though. And we got to get to these, though, right now. Guys, obviously, you can follow Scott and myself on Twitter. Scott is at Scout Kennedy, and I am at Nick Kendell MHH. Also, make sure you're following us at Huddle Up Pod and at Mile High Huddle. Guys, with the holidays right around the season, get to huddleuppod.com to get your swag on, get all the gear, the hats, the coffee mugs. Everyone take a drink if you're drinking coffee with us this morning. If you're on Facebook, make sure you're joining us at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle and facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. And if you are on YouTube, folks, make sure that you are subscribing, liking, and sharing not only to this channel, which is Mile High Huddle, of course, but Scott's channel as well over at youtube.com/C/Scott Kennedy. Oh no, I'm just got to find the ad read here. It's Scott. It's disappeared on me. You want to take the first read?
I'll read yeah. All right. Everybody's trying to cash in on the next best crypto, but if you want a guaranteed way to double your money, all you need to do is use promo code MHH at mybookie.ag. It's simple. Sign up at mybookie.ag with promo code MHH. Easy enough to remember, Mile High Huddle. And your first deposit is immediately doubled all the way up to $1,000. How's that for a quick turnaround on your investment? Doubled. With the playoff race heating up and college football season almost over, college football playoff season and bowl season come around the corner. Double your firepower at mybookie.ag to get action on the most important games of the season.
Build your own props, create a multi-game parlays, and take part in a host of MyBookie cash prizes. This is the best time of the year to both watch and bet on sports, especially football, because you know who the winners are by now. Don't miss out. Double your first deposit by using promo code MHH and keep your eyes peeled for more exclusive holiday promotions coming soon at mybookie.ag. Bet anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Just remember to use promo code MHH. All right, guys, we got a super coming in here from Ethan over the DWI guys, $22.9. So thank you so much, DWI guys. Saying glad I didn't stay up for this one. Made a good choice. You know, sleep is important. That's always an issue, but you know, that's I don't know. I'm not feeling. I'm obviously disappointed in the loss, but I came into this one and maybe I had already been super gut punched by my Hawkeyes looking like absolute butt versus Michigan. That I didn't. This one didn't hurt.
Jake Butt.
Yeah, no, not the good kind. No, it looked they looked so bad, and I'm not super disheartened because I feel like this was a pretty expected outcome overall.
Yeah, and it was, you know, I don't think there was a single team I root for or even bothered rooting for that won this weekend. It was one of those weekends where everything. I think it started at 7:30 in the morning with Chelsea losing, and then got worse from there. Ethan, appreciate the super.
Yeah, thanks so much.
And yeah, you probably made the right decision on that one. And had some stars coming in also from Dave and Miguel. Thank you. And I know, Miguel, you had a question with one of them too. Again, some of the things you look back, you know, that we say, okay, it's a game a place where you haven't won against a coach that doesn't lose after a bye week. They've played as good a defense as anybody in the NFL. And frankly, this Broncos team isn't very good on offense. It was fairly predictable, the outcome of this game, but it doesn't make it any easier. It really doesn't. Yeah. So, you know, the idea is we still have everything to play for, that you hear them saying. We still control our own destiny to a certain extent. That's true. And this was the toughest game that was left on your schedule, to me, by far, until you get the Chiefs again back at Denver. So it's behind you. Downhill from here. Can you turn it around and get moving again? We call it a Jekyll and Hyde team, but it's really not. This really isn't a Jekyll and Hyde team. The teams that are bullying you on the lines of scrimmage are beating you. Mm-hmm. It's not. It hasn't been a hard formula to figure out. And in this case, it's the offensive line. That's really where I see it. It's the offensive line bullying the defensive line, because for a certain extent, the offensive line for the Broncos was good enough, so they didn't get bullied. They actually imposed their will. Now, Nick, there was a stat that got put in as a super chat yesterday, and I'm not sure, it may have been Clayton Merrick, I think, posted it, was saying that there was only one play action pass by the Broncos yesterday. You're running the ball like that against a team that doesn't like giving up the run, and you only went to the play action one time?
Yeah, that's
explain that to me like I'm a 6-year-old, because I don't get it.
Yeah, that one doesn't make any sense to me. I guess the Chiefs, maybe because they got to such a quick lead, weren't respecting the run game so much, because you'd have to matriculate the ball down
on your side of the field. You know, a lot of those nice runs were 20 to 50 coming out of your own end zone, you know, coming out of your own side. And then they squeeze a little bit. So I see that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Play action then.
Yeah, I agree. And also, you had like a couple 2nd-and-1s, a couple 2nd-and-3s. Didn't see play action off of that. That's when you want to take some shots. But the shots also weren't really there. I mean, you had some throws down the field that were not accurate, and some where it's like Cortland Sutton not tracking the football. Looks like he's pulling up. So it's rough, and the whole offense was rough. They were moving the ball. The Broncos do have a lot of stats in this game that say that at least they were doing that, but not finishing drives. I think it's the big one. I mean, you had 2 drives end with end on downs on 4th down in Kansas City, and I know that you want to come out with points and touchdowns there, but well, a couple of those times it would have been a 1-possession game if you kick that field goal, and then you're right back in it. One fluke play can switch things. So
And
I
then
don't
it puts
really know.
pressure on the other team.
Yeah.
The other team, we talk about momentum, and a lot of it has to do with pressure on the game and how it snowballs. And when you get a little bit of positive momentum, it puts a little bit more pressure on the other team.
Yeah.
20 plays, to come out of that with no points, that was you. I get it. I understand that one, but I think you got to come away with points. You have to.
Yeah. Nope. That's the end of the game when you do that kind of stuff. But the Broncos, again, they were not likely to win this one. So hopefully it's not the end of the season. We got 5 games to go, one against the Lions, who are coming off a win right now. And that was by far the toughest environment, team, situation they'll play for the rest of the season. So the season's not over yet, but they got a very narrow path to walk if they're going to be making the playoffs. Brian coming in here. Good morning, Brian. Don't recognize you. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us this fine morning. Says, I am hoping that we can get a good quarterback next season. The Broncos have so many young weapons on offense. They just need a good quarterback. Yeah, this is I'll let you peruse the chat here to see if there's anything else you want to pull up. Anybody we want to say hello to for sure. But this is a game where you saw the limitations of Teddy Bridgewater. No doubt about it. He had a couple really stinky, bad interceptions, a couple bad sacks as well. And stinky, just not good. Not good. And I think he ended up with a QBR. Let me pull this up here real quick. A QBR
22.
25.6. Not good. I mean, Patrick Mahomes did not have a good game either, but Teddy Bridgewater not taking shots and falling behind. I know that the pass protection was pretty erratic in this game. I felt like the Broncos pass pro on the offense. The offensive line did a good job run blocking. Pass blocking was not very good, but still. Teddy, you want your quarterback to be able to go out there and do some stuff, get some balls to some playmakers, and didn't happen. Teddy Bridgewater, probably one of his I think this was one of his more disappointing games in a bit because I think the opportunities were there. But, sometimes that's the way it falls. But thank you so much for joining us.
And what's
Brian.
disappointing about it is you actually had a better rating from Bridgewater than Mahomes.
Yeah,
so,
Mahomes
how often
great.
is Mahomes going to play like this? Yeah. Where you've got this team could be had. And that's what was disappointing. One of the comments on there real quick about the young weapons, sometimes it's hard for me to sit back in the background of these chats when I want to just interject. And because one of the things that kept coming up last night was you're going to pay Sutton and Patrick all this money and you're not going to use them. Well, the extensions are for the future. Those are moves for the future, not for this year. Yeah, you've got them and it'd be nice to be able to get the ball to them. But for me, that's a sign that, you're investing in the future, tie up your young receivers to get another quarterback that will then be able to use them better. Y'all know us by now. You've been with us a long time. This is not the first time we've said this. This won't be the last time that we say it. But when Teddy Bridgewater won this job, it was a signal that you were going to have a new starting quarterback at the latest 2023.
Yeah.
It didn't mean that Teddy Bridgewater was the guy. It meant that Drew Lock wasn't. Teddy Bridgewater's a holdover. That's what he was always going to be. He was just a stopgap. Maybe we can get a run to the playoffs. Vic Fangio, coming off 2 losing seasons, could not afford a third. He needed somebody that he thought he wasn't in developmental mode. He was in we got to win now mode, and I think this guy gives us the best chance. That's his job, honestly.
Yeah.
It's George Payton's job to develop the roster. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll go back to Miguel too.
Okay. Andrew Lampy, morning, everyone. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Special thanks to Nick and Scott for always being there, win or lose. Yeah, it's sometimes, some mornings, a little bit tougher than others. Waking up this morning and being like, man, I hope the chat isn't super upset and, kind of can have a more reflective vantage point on this kind of game. But, you guys can do what you want to do. But we are happy to be here and happy to talk football with you guys, win or lose, like you said. Thank you so much, Andrew. Also, we got Miguel coming in saying, I can't say I'm surprised we lost, but we could have won that game with better quarterback play. Teddy was only sacked once, should have had a way better play. This was not a good game from Teddy Bridgewater, no doubt about it. And you heard me say coming into this game, Scott, this game was going to probably be decided in the first quarter because the Broncos this season, first team to score 10 points in all the Broncos games so far this year, have won the game. And that's came out true for this game. Not only were the Broncos up or down 10-0 after the Chiefs had 2 possessions, but the Broncos had been gone 3 and out twice. So not only did you give up easy, quick points to the Chiefs to be down 10-0 and then have to lean on the drop back pass game, which we know the Broncos are probably bottom 12 in the NFL in pure drop back pass game, I would say. Game's not over. They still fight it, and not officially over until the absolutely terrible, boneheaded, stupid, disgusting special teams play. That was the nail in the coffin. But 10-0 out of the gate, 2 3 and outs. Absolutely wrong foot, and pretty much there's no coming back from that out of the gate.
Jay Mills O'Ryan coming in with a super. Appreciate this. I don't remember you coming in with supers before, so thank you for the first time. And if this isn't your first time, thanks for coming back. So start Drew. Drew has upside and has brought the Broncos back being down before last year versus the Chargers. If we never beat the Chiefs, we'll never get to the promised land. We've got to figure it out. One thing that I feel is a little odd in the NFL is how hesitant they are to use a backup quarterback ever. Even in garbage time, they almost never go to the second guy in a blowout win or loss. You rarely see the backup guy. The start Drew thing, that's gone. That was gone in the probably the minute they traded for Teddy Bridgewater. Honestly, there's not a lot of faith in Drew Lock anywhere in that entire building. You don't hear anybody anywhere even hinting that, we could change things up. Normally if receivers were getting a little annoyed, if the defense was getting pissed off, you start hearing some of that stuff. You hear some leaks to the media. That stuff starts coming out. There's none of that. There isn't anybody in there that wants Drew Lock starting right now. Read into that what you will. Upside, maybe, but I think we're going to have to find that upside somewhere else. And it's going to be an uphill battle for him because he's going to be coming in on the cheap as a number 2. I almost think of a Josh Rosen type of career path for him now, where he'll get another contract and have what they call the easiest job in football, the backup quarterback.
Yeah, I see. If it works out for Drew Lock from here on out, he's probably living a Ryan Fitzpatrick lifestyle where he's putting up some awesome throws down the field, but is very erratic and probably bounces around the league. That's most likely. Thank you for the super chat, Jay Mills O'Ryan. I think we had a second one come in here for $5 too.
Double timing.
But the defense is starting to gel, and you can tell. Yeah, I thought the defense did okay in this game. They were pretty good. You mentioned it too, and I think you hit a good point. This game, the Broncos got a bit bullied by the Chiefs' offensive line specifically the defensive line. This was not a great showing from McTelvin Agim, Shelby Harris, Deshaun Williams, Draymond Jones, and the Chiefs, especially in that first half. They were getting push on the ground game consistently, and it was always 2nd and 2, 3rd and 1, because the Chiefs were running the ball so efficiently on first down. I mean, were the Chiefs ever behind the sticks on 3rd down? I can't remember once. They were just marching the ball down the field.
Well, and there's a guy, the right tackle, I think it's Andrew Weil, I believe his name is Wiley.
Yep.
I watched him in getting ready for this game. I was watching him against Micah Parsons, and we mentioned this last week. He's on a 1-year deal at $920,000. Now, I don't know about you, but I saw a pretty good right tackle out there for under $1 million. So knowing that the Denver Broncos could be in the market for a right tackle, some depth, some help, whatnot, and a cheap option, I'd certainly be on the phone with his agent because I think the guy can play. I think he's a pretty good player. On the defense is starting to gel, and you can tell the defense adjusted quickly. They went down and they were up 10 points, and then that was it for a while. That was pretty quiet. It wasn't against the Chiefs when someone jumped out on Dallas. Was it that Chiefs game where they got out on Dallas in a hurry, and then the Cowboys shut them out for the next 46 minutes or something?
Yep.
It's kind of how this one felt, and frankly, it kind of went the same way. The Chiefs have been playing defense and have made a couple pretty good quarterbacks look really bad. Dak Prescott being one of them. I don't think anybody's going to argue that Teddy Bridgewater is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott, and their numbers were almost identical. It's a good defense.
Yeah.
That's not making excuses. Bridgewater could have played better than he did, without a doubt, and that's what's frustrating. This was a game that could be had. This was a team. This is a Chiefs team that's vulnerable for sure, and you want to step up and take your shot. And well, you get another one. You'll get another one at home in a couple weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got Maxwell's. I can't read that first name. Ghislaine.
I think it's a bad name of some person.
Okay.
I don't know who. I'd have to Google who that is, but Chad wouldn't read the name.
Okay. Well, somebody's bodyguard saying so many negative things to say, but man, Miners fun to watch. Every single play is downfield trying to make something happen. Tough dude. Yeah, I'm really excited about the young makeup of this Broncos team, and if they don't beat Kansas City this year, I'm feeling pretty good about next year when they get 2 shots at them again. I think they got a shot week 18 this year at Denver. If Denver has something to play for in that game, I will be very excited and think the Broncos got a chance, because as negative as we're feeling about this game, the Broncos, I'm looking at the play-by-play right here. The Broncos, it was the Chiefs went 3 and out, and there was 2 minutes and 2 seconds left in the third quarter, and it's 13-3. It's 13-3. You have a shot, and boom, special teams fumbles the ball. Terrible play. I don't know what the hell's going on there to fire Tom McMahon. I'm typically a little bit to pump the brakes on the fire these guys, but Tom McMahon is just wasting space at this point. And then it's 16-3, and then right after that, pick 6. So there's your ball game right there, folks. I mean,
it turned in a hurry.
As soon as that fumbled, you were right in the game, and it sucks that you're not scoring points. But 13-3, you have a shot to win the game still and go down and score some points and make it a 1-possession game. But as soon as you muff that punt, the whole air went out of the sideline there on the Broncos, and we knew it was over.
Now, that play can be described as a little fluky, but did you see a fair catch? Fangio alluded to one, but I never saw a replay that showed a fair catch, which to me was the first problem.
This should have been a fair catch for sure.
It is a little fluky when you get blocked into a guy like that, but I didn't see Spencer call for a fair catch, and that's to me that was the first problem.
Yeah, terrible. I mean, God, this is the type of game where the Chiefs needed to make a play like that for you to have a chance even in that. And you definitely sure as hell cannot be muffing punts after your defense forces a 3 and out when you still are very much in this game, only having given up 13 points. As soon as you do that, I mean, goodbye. The body language changed. The Broncos offense is forced to be a little bit more aggressive, and it's pick 6. And then it's for sure over. And the stupid Daniel Sorensen doing the ball fake thing down the sideline, man. I was hoping somebody would come off the sideline and deck him. But it's rough.
You got to catch him first.
Yeah, you got to catch him first. Yeah, that's Vic Fangio just sprinting down the sideline, making not in my house, not today. But the Doug Freeland
George Teague when you need him,
right? We got Doug Freeland coming in. Good morning, guys. I thought Teddy looked overwhelmed. Definitely one of his. It was a bad Teddy game. And that's unfortunate because Javonte Williams had a heck of a game as well. I'm excited to see what that is. Go back and review that game. But Teddy did look overwhelmed. Teddy also looked a bit injured to me and a bit pressing, as we've said it all season. At least I've been saying it a lot recently. This Broncos team, they're dead in the water if they have to play keep up football, because they do not have the pass blocking or the quarterback play to play that style of football. It's that comeback king, Jay Cutler, John Elway, Matt Stafford, some of those guys, they can really work that drop back game. Russell Wilson, etc. Teddy can't. Teddy needs to be the beta to the run game's alpha with a lead, and that's when he's the most efficient and effective. And the Broncos getting behind 10-0 almost immediately. That's game, folks. You can't do that. The Broncos offense needed to come out better. Broncos defense needed to come out better because they are not built in a way where they can come up from behind. And that rang true again this week.
Farshan Chops coming in on Twitch says, "Hey guys, you read the Twitch chat?" Yes, we do. They come through all of them. So if you got some Twitch friends, bring them in. The Mile High Huddy. I'm a little tired this morning, y'all. The Mile High Huddle family is huge, and we'd love to grow our presence on Twitch. So tell some friends, share this, like it, spread it around. We absolutely read it. Appreciate it. Shane, I'm not sure where you're watching this morning because I think you must be on one of the smaller Facebook groups, because usually you come in through the Mile High Huddle, and I don't see you on here. So. But Shane, always one of the big contributors and supporters of the show, says Pookie in my mind was the only stud this game. Teddy Bridgewater is on his fifth team for a reason. Fangio can't win a challenge. McMahon needs to go Pee-wee ball. If I was Peyton, I'm reaching out to coaching agents ASAP. I'm not going out on a limb here. He already has. No inside information here. Let's just call it common sense and an educated guess. He's already been in touch with agents. Agents always say, no, coaches always say, no, I haven't spoken with USC. My agent has. It's plausible deniability. I haven't spoken with Oklahoma. My agent has. That's what the agents are for. That's what they are doing. Teddy Bridgewater is on his 15 for a reason. Yes. So again, you got what you paid for.
Yeah.
6th-round pick, $4 million. Isn't that about what it was? What it took to get him? You were getting what you paid for. He wasn't ever the long-term guy. Not ever. He was what we said at the beginning was your quarterback rating should go from 31 or 32 where it was last year to 15 to 19 is where you should finish. And I said at the beginning, I said, I don't know if that's going to be Drew Lock or if it's going to be Teddy Bridgewater, but having Teddy Bridgewater there means you will be higher than you were the year before. Because one of those guys, because Teddy is better than Drew was last year, based on, the entire season of play. And he has been. But he's not the answer long term.
No.
It never was. Never was going to be. This was can I save my job? I've had 2 losing seasons and I'm on a short leash with a new GM, Vic Fangio move, and credit George Paton for backing him. And now you've had your turn. Now we're going to do it my way. And Paton has done such a good job of building a young core for this Broncos team. I'd say you're only missing one place, but really, if you can get that quarterback, there's a playoff team. No doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's unfortunate. I mean, again, we don't want to be too up in the air about this game specifically, because this was probably the toughest game the Broncos were going to face all season. I mean, 10-point spread is serious in the NFL. I'm guessing there's probably, how many 10-point or double-digit spreads do you think there are a week in the NFL?
Probably three, maybe 4.
Okay.
Maybe.
Just typically, if there's a 10-point spread, there's
especially this year. This year, maybe I'm biased because there were 2 of them on the 2 games I was watching.
Yeah, Tampa Bay too.
The Patriots were the Patriots. I apologize, everybody. I'm not used to staying up till 3 a.m.
Need more coffee. Somebody send Scott some coffee pronto.
And I just ran out. I'm about to finish this one already. Who'd the Falcons beat? That seemed like 3 days ago. Lose to yesterday.
Jacksonville.
Tampa. Tampa was a 10-point favorite.
Yeah, but then you guys beat Jacksonville the week before. Straight to the bone, saying, I love my Broncos. We love you, straight to the bone. Cute picture of the family there, saying Teddy got to go as well. This is a bad Teddy game. I just think the perspective here needs to not be this binary, he's the worst ever or he's the savior. Teddy Bridgewater is exactly who we thought he was going to be. He, for the most part, is when you are leading the game, he can manage it and he can win you some football games that way. But from behind, you do not have the quarterback there to win those type of games. It's like, I think of it as a sea captain. When the waters are clear and you're close to port and you're watching the dolphins or whatever off the shore. Teddy's great. You're having fun. It's just cruising. But if there is choppy water and a storm, Teddy's not the guy you want being your captain, keeping that vessel afloat, because he doesn't have that in him to do that. He's not going to also put you in a situation where you could have avoided that with better decision making. But we are where we are. We got Scatterbrain coming in saying, y'all have a different tone than you spewed all week. I don't know if you want us to come in and say that we got absolutely no chance, then you can go listen to a different station out there. There's some that just, live in the world of misery. But we live in a world where the outcome isn't the outcome until it's actually happened. So we're going to talk about all the possibilities and the different means where we can get to a multitude of outcomes.
Well, I don't know. My tone on Thursday was, I think the Chiefs are going to win, and this isn't the end of the world. Yeah. Trying to build on that this morning. My tone's pretty well the same because I didn't expect Denver to win this game. The Chiefs, again, I said it at the top, Chiefs were a 10-point favorite for a reason on this. This is the hardest game now. People said, what if they win this game? Well, if you can beat Kansas City in Kansas City, you can win out. This is the toughest game left on the schedule. I saw the title on this. Is this a must win? No, it's not a must win. If you're to make the playoffs, to prove that you're legit, it is, but not to make the playoffs. No. You're never in a must-win situation as a 10-point underdog in a regular season game unless it's week 16 or 17 in order to make the playoffs. I've been saying that for a week.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And we got Jonathan coming in here, $10 over on YouTube. Good morning to you, Jonathan. Thank you so much for joining us. Morning, guys. Morning to you. It seemed like the offense was confused on 4th and 2nd, where they got stuffed. I feel like bad choices for timeouts and poor situational awareness, maybe these coaches' biggest weakness. Yeah, that one was, it felt like they didn't know exactly what they wanted to do. And then they looked up and it's like, oh my God, we only have like 5 seconds before the before the play clock expires and it's 4th and 7. So I honestly wish they would have taken a time out there or, taken the penalty and kicked the field goal at that point in the game. I know Vic Fangio after the game said you got to score touchdowns there, but your defense was keeping you in it. And every single possession and point was mattering at that point. And to come away and make that a 1-possession game there. I mean, you're a tip ball pick 6 away from being right back in it then rather than the 2 possessions. So that was unfortunate. I know I'm talking out both sides of my mouth there because I do appreciate them. And when they went for it on 4th and 7 and got it, amazing. And being aggressive, I totally get that. Looking at Kansas City, they can put up points in a hurry, but still, that was the 4th and 2 was not great. And it was unfortunate to see them get stuffed in the backfield.
And the 4th and 7 was out in long field goal range, right? Between the 30 and 40, where I'd go for it just about every time, at least between the 35 and 40. If I'm in 4th and under 5 in that neighborhood, and then 7's great. 4th and 5 and under the 35 to 40, I go for it every time. And then you've got a decision to make. There was a challenge. I meant to touch on the challenge comment a little bit. But before I get on to that one, I wanted to address Jonathan. Everybody's been calling for, more Javonte Williams, more Javonte Williams, more Javonte Williams. He's still a rookie. This is the one thing I keep trying to say about. If you had given him 30 touches a game up until this point, he wouldn't be where he is right now. He wouldn't be as fresh. He'd be more banged up. So I actually think the workload split that the Broncos have employed has been ideal. I think it's been perfect. Now, speaking of a different tone from last week, what was it, Mr. Spencer Brain or Scatterbrain or something like that?
I like
Mr. Scatterbrain. Now that he's fresh and now you can use him. That's the exact thing I said last week. You're going to see more Javonte Williams down the stretch because his early load was split nicely. And I expect to see, even with a healthy Melvin Gordon, a 60-40 split in favor of Javonte Williams. The challenge looked like a fumble to me. I said, you've got to challenge that one. I don't care if you lose it in the first half. I don't care if you lose that challenge. You got to throw the red flag on that one. No problem at all with that challenge from Fangio.
Yeah, and that's another one where situation is key. That is not only a change of possession, but that's probably, I don't know what the rule would be. Would that be a defensive touchdown or would it be?
No, it wouldn't have been a touchdown. It was a clear recovery. So they would have given them the ball where he got it, which is about the 25,
but
somewhere in there, but it would have been a 6. It should have been six points the other direction, between that one and the interference. Or I've even written interference 3 times, intentional grounding. Call against Bridgewater where he spikes the ball 5 yards in front of the running back. I think it was Javonte Williams in the crowd. That was ridiculous. That was a really bad call.
Yeah.
The bang call on the fumble, they weren't going to overturn it. Normally they're coached to let that play go.
I know. That's what I was going to say.
To let that play go so you don't call back the touchdown if it was good, and then you let replay take care of it. They wouldn't have reversed it if they had let that play go. They weren't going to reverse it. Whichever way they called it, because it was so close, they weren't going to reverse it, and Denver got hosed. Denver was on the wrong side of that one.
No, absolutely. You're right on that. Another one that really, easy, to come out here and say, oh, bad calls. That, my God, that Mahomes touchdown run where he had, that was the most obvious holding I've seen all season. On the right tackle, Wiley, who we highlighted earlier. Once Mahomes broke the pocket and started moving forward, Bradley Chubb's jersey was just this, and Mahomes slipped away without even having a chance because Chubb's jersey was getting taken down. He actually pulled him to the ground on that play. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And the Broncos end up losing this game, and a game that we both picked them to lose. I picked them not only to lose, but to not cover the spread. in this game. So yeah, we did pick the Chiefs to win. I think I had the Chiefs winning 31-20. It would have been a little bit more of an exciting game if that was the case. I should have listened to my own head. Both these teams have been some of the best in terms of time of possession per drive this season, which means typically a lower scoring game. And this was overall a lower scoring game because both these teams were possessing the ball for long periods of time out throughout the game.
Yeah, I picked the Chiefs in this one. I had 24-20.
Yep.
I hedged on don't bet on this one. It was too close to the over-under, and I think I probably said I like the Chiefs to not cover, so I probably would have taken Denver in the points in this one, and I probably would have lost. James coming in with some stars. Appreciate you, James. Says, yes, Teddy would seem to be like Fitzpatrick. He's somewhere in the twilight zone of a starting caliber quarterback and a competent backup. Somewhere in that 15 to 20 range, right? Which was an improvement over where you've been with the Denver. Made this comment last week. Says, I'm tired of average. Someone, I don't remember who posted, but I'm tired of average when we were talking about the quarterback position. So the problem with Denver is you haven't even been average.
Yeah.
It's been below average to bad. So being average is a step up. But when you know that's the best you're going to get is average, that just squashes your hope. And this game and sports and life is about having hope that things are going to get better. And right now you don't have any.
No.
There's still people that think that Drew Lock is the answer, but not in Denver. That's not going to happen.
No.
So when you're hopeless, you're angry. I get that. My daughter's middle name is Hope. I get it. I understand how powerful that emotion is. And you're not going to get any better than average out of Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah. Yep. He's been hanging around above average some games and below average some games, and he'll probably finish the season with many of his metrics being smack dab in the middle, quarterback 12 to quarterback 20. And that's what we expected coming into this season. You'd hope that the rest of the roster around him would be good enough to help elevate that. I mean, and we are sitting here this season, 6-6 right now with 5 games to go. I would say that's probably right about exactly where you'd expect to be with what this roster is, with what the quarterback situation is, with the injuries that they've had on the offensive line and at the linebacker position. But obviously we're living week to week, and we really don't, especially coming off the game as emotional as this one, you're not taking the 1,000-foot view on the season. You're very hyped and emotional about the game that just happened. So I totally get it. But Broncos play Detroit next week. It's definitely a get right game in that sense. And then you have to beat Detroit first, of course, but then you have 4 games left, right? It would be 4 games left with Bengals, who look pretty banged up. I think Joe Burrow has a broken pinky, and Joe Mixon got hurt in this last game against the Chargers. A road game in Vegas, a road game at the Chargers, 2 stadiums that are some of the least hostile home stadiums in football, really corporate and not a big fan base for those 2 teams in those areas. And then Kansas City at home. So this is a very frustrating game, but the season's far from over. Season's far from over just yet. So I would say hold on to that hope because this team, I'm expecting them to come out and beat Detroit handily next week. And then we have meaningful football game and everything that they want to do still in front of them.
Well, and the Chargers just went to Cincinnati and whooped them.
Yep.
Speaking of games I wasn't expecting, the San Diego, LA, whatever, the SoCal Chargers going to Cincinnati in December and winning. That doesn't happen against a good Cincinnati team. So all of a sudden they look more vulnerable coming to Denver. Now, do they get their bounce back game? Maybe they'll do that this week. But again, like you said, Lions, Bengals at home, at Raiders, at Chargers. Well, you've gotten in the Chargers' head a little bit. And then the Chiefs. Now, I think maybe the worst case scenario on all this is a must win against the Chiefs. I think you almost want to have it decided one way or another before that last game. It's like, yeah, let's go 4-0, and we're already in the playoffs, and maybe we lose home field in a wild card game in the last game, or we're out of it and we're on to draft and we're searching for new coach. But oh man, that'd be a lot on the line on the last game against the Chiefs at home, and that's a tough team. It's a team that you haven't been able to beat. Now, how sweet would it be to win it? But that would be painful. That would be painful for sure.
Yeah, and I'm honestly hoping for that reality, to have everything that we want in front of us. I know that beating Kansas City will be tough in Denver, but that means the Broncos played good football between now and then, and to play meaningful football in Week 17, haven't seen that since 2016. Heck, I don't even know if they did see that in 2016. Might have been since 2015. So to see that the last game of the year, that would be big. We'll see if it happens, but who knows? You got to win the games in front of you now. None of them are going to be as tough as the game that they just played. And we haven't even touched on. I mean, they talked about it on the broadcast last night, but like Andy Reid, 19-3 coming off the bye week, Sunday Night Football, 7-0 with Patrick Mahomes with any bye week preparation. I mean, the odds were really, really, really stacked against you. And not only did you have to go against that, but you are losing the turnover battle. You're losing. You made terrible special teams plays. You're not coming in with points at the end of drives. You're going to lose football games that way. We got Terry Martin coming in here saying, do you see us picking up a caliber quarterback like Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson next year? The Broncos are going to be aggressive on this front. These are two of the best 10 quarterbacks in football, maybe even 5 quarterbacks in football. Depending on what you think about Russell Wilson, I feel like there's a pretty big, interesting debate about Russell Wilson right now on the whole, but we'll see that play itself out. But yeah, the Broncos are going to be aggressive and hopefully make a move at Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. We'll see if anything comes of it. There are teams that have more buying power than the Broncos. The Dolphins have more buying power. The Eagles have more buying power. And there's a chance that both the teams that they're on keep these guys as well because they're great quarterbacks. But if they're available, Broncos are going to be aggressive and hopefully make a push for one of them.
Yeah, they're going to ask. They're certainly going to be in the market. And what's nice is, it's like, oh, I don't want to give up the draft capital, but the Broncos are young. They've got young and they've got money. Those are a good time to give up draft capital. It's like, oh, I don't want to give up 3 players. So I have to give up 3 first-round picks to get Russell Wilson. Well, okay, but where would you say if you got your quarterback and it took you 2 more, cost you two more players to do it because you gave up, your first-round pick becomes Russell Wilson, and then 2 first-round picks that you throw in, so 3 first-round picks. See how that works? Math. Are there 2 first-round picks? Are there two players that you could bring in from the college ranks that would help you more than Russell Wilson would right now? Probably not.
No,
probably not. And you got another 7 or 8 years of Russell Wilson. So you get through, and that's where it becomes a little scary, Nick, with someone like Aaron Rodgers for me, is when he's done, that's when you need those guys. That's when you needed those guys that you drafted to pick up the slack. You've got enough time in someone like Russell Wilson to survive the loss of a couple of picks with positive play at the quarterback position because he's going to be around for several years. You're not necessarily mortgaging your future because he can be your future. He can be the guy for another 7 or 8 years. So, if I'm going all in on one season, it's Aaron Rodgers without a doubt in my mind. I'd rather have him really than any other quarterback in the NFL. Yeah, it's not even like I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers for one season than any quarterback in the NFL. And then, but it's not necessarily mortgaging your future in order to try and win the now. Russell Wilson could be your future. So you're going to be aggressive in there. You're definitely going to be aggressive on that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you talk about the quarterback jumps here. I mean, last year the Broncos lock was probably 29th ranked quarterback in the NFL, something like that, as far as a lot of the EPA per play, CPOE, QBR. I mean, one of the bottom ones this year, Teddy Bridgewater's playing somewhere from 12th to 20th. That's probably the difference. And just going from that to what we have right now, probably adds 3 wins to the season, 3 wins to you this season. And I think you could probably argue you add another 3 to 4 wins going from Teddy Bridgewater to that of Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. So then you're talking about, a 12-win team, a 13-win team. And that would make a heck of a difference. Like, I know a lot of people think like team building, you look at the roster and you look at one single position that is an issue. But going from, let's say, D level quarterback play to C level quarterback play is going to make as much of a difference on your roster as going from an F level right tackle to an A level right tackle. It's just, that's how much value the quarterback position has. And even an incremental change makes a huge difference. So hopefully the Broncos were talking a year from now, this offseason, they made a move for Russell Wilson. They made a move for Aaron Rodgers because this team then is very much in the driver's seat in the AFC West. And they can literally match up with anybody. I have to stay healthy, but they could match up with anybody.
Yeah, the general managers don't necessarily like to talk about that stuff even after the fact, just because, if you say you still have to back if you don't get them, it doesn't send a great message to whoever is your quarterback. It's like, yeah, we went after we went after Aaron Rodgers, he was too expensive. We went after Russell Wilson, he was too expensive, but we got this guy now, so we're good. That's not a vote of confidence. So, coaches live in speaking coach speak. General managers are worse when it comes to what they say publicly, because they're actually dealing with, with legitimately bluffing. They're playing poker every day trying to get those things. But it'd be nice if they didn't get one of those guys say, we considered it. We considered all options. I think that's probably what you'll hear. The general manager speak is listen for those keywords is we considered all our options, but this is the way we went. We thought this would be best for us. Meaning, yeah, we called on Deshaun Watson, but he was way too expensive. David coming in with this question. That was why I mentioned Deshaun Watson. Would you guys go after Deshaun Watson since he's still young? He would be my number one choice if you could count on, if it was just a quarterback decision. If it was just I'm playing Madden and I need this guy, but it's not. There's so much baggage with Deshaun Watson that he might be radioactive to half the teams in the NFL. I don't know. If he's not playing in Houston right now, that tells you a lot of what you need to know, because he's their guy. He may not want to play there, but he's not the first guy that's ever been on a team that he wanted to leave. You still play. You're professional. So the fact that he's not playing speaks volumes to me. And this stuff might not get cleared up for another 12 months at least. So I don't think you can go after Deshaun Watson. Would I? Absolutely. 25 years old and a 4-time Pro Bowler, I think. Absolutely. You give up 3 or 4 first-round draft picks for that and kick in some cash to get a quarterback like that for the next 15 years, without a doubt. That's why it's so detrimental to Houston that they're going to lose him for nothing, basically. They don't have him now, and then they're going to lose him. And it's detrimental for Houston, but I think he's radioactive right now.
Yeah, he's radioactive right now. Also, he has a full no trade clause, and by every indication, he has no desire to come to Denver. He wouldn't waive the no trade clause to come to Denver. Sounds like he spends a lot of time in Miami. He'd love to go there. There's also some talk about the Raiders, of course. Man, they just can't get enough high character guys over there in Las Vegas, can they? So we'll see what happens. But I was all in on Watson until all the off season stuff came about him. Right now, he just makes me a little bit trepidatious, to put it lightly, because that is some serious baggage. So before we get on out of here, Scott, I want to be a little bit positive. And we'll get to the stars here from Miguel first. Who would be coaching candidates for you, gentlemen? Coaching candidates. I really like both the guys over at Tampa Bay right now, the backups. And I have always been a huge fan of Bruce Arians. So anybody who has any of that, if you can capture what Bruce Arians is doing in Tampa right now, and with Tom Brady too, give me some of that magic. So I am a huge fan of Todd Bowles. I think he is beloved by his players. I like his aggressive style on defense, and I think that he didn't probably get the best run playing for the Jets opposed to Bill Belichick, right? That's a tough situation to be in. He's way more competent there than any of the last previous coaches. So Todd Bowles interests the heck out of me. I also really, really like Byron Leftwich. I think he's got a great offensive mind. The fact that he comes from that vertical aggressive style Air Coryell offense that Bruce Arians wants to run, and now he's kind of making it work with Tom Brady as well, getting to see what both those offenses are in the pass game in today's NFL. I would love to have that mind, that coach, that leadership leading us. Those are my favorite 2 guys right now for the Denver gig. We'll see what happens though.
I think I know the answer to this one, but what do you guys think of college QBs coming up like Pickett from Pitt?
Did you watch the ACC championship game at all?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not. The main thing I wanted to do was see how many people were in the stands, because I was going to actually take a picture of the empty stands and say, because the SEC, their catchphrase is it just means more. And for the ACC, I was just going to take a picture of their stands and say, the ACC, we've got better stuff to do.
Yeah.
But no, I did not watch that. And I haven't seen a ton of him. I've listened to your thoughts on him, which is, he's a little bit older, which so be it.
Tiny hands. Hands.
Yeah, that's the one too. Is start looking at fumbles. What can you do on that when you're getting hit all the time? If you don't have 2 hands on the ball and you're getting knocked around, you're going to fumble the ball. Steady, I think, would be how I would think of it, is kind of a Mac Jones light is what you're looking for there. A game manager, not necessarily someone that's going to wow you with his arm, but not make a bunch of mistakes and pretty accurate. Meh.
I think he's got a little bit more tools than Mac Jones. I think he's a better athlete and a little bit more zip, but he doesn't have the feathery touch or the processing that you see from Mac Jones. I think the guy that I see when I watch Kenny Pickett is Kirk Cousins, where you can let the offense run through him and he'll take some shots, but sometimes there's some WTF moments. In that game, there was a play that I don't fault Kenny Pickett for it, but he did a fake slide, acted like he was going down, started to bend down, and then didn't go to the ground, and then ran for like a 40-yard touchdown. And that really upset me for just football reasons, because if quarterbacks are going to start doing that, open season for defensive players in my book.
There was a play like where they kind of dodged out of bounds, and it's almost we talk about the unwritten rules in baseball, and how it kills a game and all this kind of stuff. Well, that's kind of one of those unwritten rules. If you're going out of bounds, I will pull up. And the minute you don't, all right, I might get 15 thrown on me, but I'm gonna bury you. With a fake dodge to go out of bounds, and then cut back up on the sidelines. So that angers defensive players a lot.
It's an abuse of the rule. The rule is there to protect the quarterbacks, and if you're going to abuse that, then there's no reason to go through with that rule.
Yeah, so and then when he comes back up and you were jumping over the top of him and you hit him in the head, then you get called for targeting and you're thrown out of the game. It's so the thing I like the best about Mac Jones is coming out, and I haven't watched Pickett enough to know if he's anywhere in this category, was how he would deal with pressure, how he'd deal with the blitz in his face. He was really, really good. Oh, you're at Alabama. You've got all these weapons and you got the best offensive line. Yeah, that's all true, but you're still going against a lot of defenses at LSU and Georgia and Florida with guys that are coming in, the playoff games, and you're playing the Ohio States and Clemsons of the world with NFL guys on the other side, and they're going to get their shots. And how he dealt with pressure and people in his face. And it didn't have to be a lightning pass and show off the arm strength, but I just remember one in particular where he dropped one in a bucket to Najee Harris, and then Najee Harris does Najee Harris things. But everybody talked about, oh, look at the athleticism of Najee Harris. But what I'm watching was, man, that was amazing from the quarterback to get that ball out of there and to him to a space to his playmakers. Is Kenny Pickett there? I don't know. I will know by the time we get around to Senior Bowl and that type of stuff.
Yeah, quarterbacks, or not quarterbacks, college guys, NFL people, the clock starts December 1st. That's when they start going through the tape of these college guys, because for the most part, the season's over. You're not really going to get a good usable tape on those bowl games because it's such a weird situation. There's so much hoopla around those games. So a lot of times, you can use those games, but they're not the best for scouting compared to the regular season games. Those are the ones that you want to lean into. So that's pretty much done. So teams are starting to really pour over this tape, and we're going to have a long process, another 4 months until they draft. But we're going to figure it out, and we'll see what the Broncos do at the quarterback position. They could be drafting a guy. I'm not a big fan of anyone in this class right now, but we'll see. It was really actually pretty frustrating. I had 2 TVs on Saturday before the Hawkeyes got murdered, with one TV being Georgia versus Alabama and the other TV being Houston versus Cincinnati. And just like, what a night and day difference. Desmond Ridder on one screen versus Bryce Young on the other. God, totally different. They're playing different games. I know the better talent for Bryce Young, but he was incredible.
Well, Bryce Young is part of the reason. You switch the quarterbacks in that Georgia and Alabama game, and it's probably the same score on the other direction.
Yeah.
With Stetson Bennett and Bryce Young. So Bryce Young's pretty special. And Jay says that he's taking advantage of the rule. Don't hate the player, hate the stupid rule. There's some of that, but like I said, there's those unwritten rules that as being part of the game that you adhere to. And when you break them, you hear about it. And people, like I said, the best analogy for me is baseball. You hear about these unwritten rules all the time and people roll their eyes at them, but it's an etiquette. It's an etiquette of the game. And I bet he doesn't do it again. And I bet if he does, I bet he gets pile driven.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't hate the player for that one. But I think that there needs to be some sort of ramifications. Like if a quarterback motions to give themselves up outside of the pocket, then you're down at that spot. Mm-hmm. Exactly that. Otherwise and
they probably will change that.
Yep.
They probably will.
Because otherwise it's like, okay, well, then a defensive player has every right to go make the play until that defensive or that quarterback is on the ground. And that means that you're going to see some violent hits that are going to be quarterback getting their chops kicked in as they go to the ground. So it'll be interesting. Positives before we get on out of here. Positives in this game. Javonte Williams, great game from the rookie. He looks like the real deal. I'm excited to see what he can do these next few games. I'm also hopefully we'll get to have Melvin Gordon back. But you know what? If Melvin Gordon isn't back the rest of the season, I also feel okay because Mike Boone, another positive in this game, number 26. I thought he looked explosive. I thought he looked
angry.
Yeah, he looked
angry. I like the way guys run like they're like they're mad.
Yes, determined running as well. There wasn't any guesswork there. He's like, I'm going to put my head down and be height, weight, speed, bigger, faster, stronger than these guys and pick up yards. Beautiful. Loved it. Both those guys next year, if those are your two running backs, amen. We'll have a lot of fun. The next one that I think is Quinn Miners had a good game as well. Excited to see Quinn Miners out there. And then also the Broncos safeties and cornerbacks in this game. Chiefs did not get that kill play. They had to march down the field to get their points and opportunities. Patrick Surtain, Ronald Darby, Caden Stearns, Kareem Jackson, Justin Simmons, I thought all overall had a pretty darn good game. The guys who disappointed me, we haven't talked that much about the defense either, but everybody tripping over themselves to say, hey, we need to pay Kenny Young. We need to pay Kenny Young. Kenny Young was systematically targeted by the Chiefs in the pass game. Granted, that's what football is, right? Trying to throw it against linebackers is typically a good formula to win, but he really stunk in the pass game in this game, and Malik Reed was terrible, bad, horrific in the run game. I don't know if that dude has set a single edge all season for the run game. Just God. I think I said it in the Eagles game, but it reminds me of Dirty Dancing, where like they run across the floor and they do the lift up in the air and the spin. That's like what it looks like when Malik Reed is trying to play the edge because the offensive tackles are just blasting him off the line of scrimmage.
What's worse is a lot of times it's not even the offensive tackle, it's a tight end.
Yeah, the tight end.
So you're letting the tackle get to the second level, which is another mismatch. You've got to, like I said, we've gone through this before where we said, Noah Fant blocking TJ Watt, bad idea, but your edge is getting blocked by the opposing tight ends, and that's makes it really tough.
Yeah. Amen. Do you have any positives coming out of this game too?
None. No, I'm just kidding. Look at the numbers. You look at Patrick Mahomes' numbers. His rating on the day was 57. Say what you want about the quarterback play from Bridgewater. It wasn't very good. Mahomes wasn't very good either.
No.
The quarterback play in this game, it was from a neutral perspective, it was a bad football game. A lot of mistakes, a lot of missed opportunities, a lot of bad quarterback play. I enjoy watching the power running game, so I really enjoy Javonte Williams watching him play. But the defense was great. Just looking at the overall numbers, about 200, 180, 90, about 270 yards total offense, had them 10 points, basically. You held them down to for the majority of the game. And those 10 came quick, and then you made the adjustments, and you took care of business. So, just holistically, 10,000 foot or a mile high view here, I thought the defense was spectacular. I thought the defense played great on the whole.
Yeah. I guess my only nitpicking is that the defense gave up 10 points on the first two drives. And when you're down like that with this offense, knowing the limitations that you have there, you already in trouble. But then they stopped. But it's like
you could run the ball. You didn't have to. You didn't abandon your game plan on offense because of those quick points. The 20 play drive proves that.
Yeah.
So the defense certainly did their part over the course of the game, without a doubt.
Yep. That's I agree with you there. And it's unfortunate. It's kind of what we talked about all season. You have limitations with Teddy Bridgewater. That going into the season. So these other areas have to live up to X, which on the whole, if you had an Aaron Rodgers back there, you wouldn't have to lean into that type of complimentary football. But alas, this is the reality of where we're at. And it's going to be the reality of where the Broncos are at for the rest of the season. I know that there's going to be how quickly we forget. There's going to be a lot of people, talking about start Drew Lock, whatever. He had a shot in an opportunity, which is probably the best he's going to get for the rest of the season in that game where Teddy was hurt and Lock came in, and he threw a boneheaded play and fumbled it. Got lucky on a fumble as well. So you're not going to see Drew Lock out there, barring an injury. You're not going to see him. So is what it is. But one game closer to the end, guys. Broncos are still 500 with 5 games to go, and they got a chance. They probably have to win every single game but one to make the playoffs. But they still got a chance, and they got a good game against Detroit next week. And I know after that game, I'm assuming we're going to be riding high again. God, I hate to even put that out there, because if the Broncos lose to that, this will be an absolute bleep show. But they should win.
So do we put the game basically? If you take care of business, because there are some comments on here that I agree with, you can't necessarily assume a win against Detroit. You should win, doesn't mean you will, but let's say you do. Is Cincinnati does that begin then the point where, you know, the playoffs basically start for this team?
They can lose one game. I think if they can get to 10 wins, they should have a chance.
I don't think it can be Cincinnati. If you lose to Cincinnati at home, you know, are you really going to beat the Chargers on the road and the Chiefs again?
Probably not, but I think you have to. The season's not over if you lose to Cincinnati. You have to win then every single game against the divisional opponents, which is very hard. So you essentially do have to beat the Bengals, but the season is not over. I think you can still lose one more game and make the playoffs with 10 wins. If you finish 10-7, which is going to be hard, that's, you have to finish 4-1 down the stretch here with AFC West opponents. That's going to be tough, but they got a chance to do it. And that's all you could ask for. And that's all we thought this team would be coming into the season. I think I had them at 9 wins. Predicting the season start, and I think you had them at 10 wins.
I think I had 10-7, maybe 11-6. I'll have to go back and check.
I think
that was a while ago. We probably did that in August, maybe in September.
Yeah. But we're going to see, and hopefully that will be that it'll be fun, and we'll ride it out this season. Obviously, this is the toughest game, and this is hopefully the worst we're going to feel for the rest of the season, but we'll see. You play to win the game, and Colin's saying this would be the worst 10-win team ever. Possible. There's one, I guess there's a caveat there, is that there's an extra game this season, right? So you could be a bad 10-win team essentially, but that is the thing is moons better.
I don't think people realize how much bad football is being played right now across the NFL.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the dream of NFL organizers, is to have a bunch of mediocre teams that play. And I've heard people say it before, that the dream on a 16-game season is everybody goes 8-8. That's the dream. Well, it makes for a lot of bad football. It really does.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad teams right now. The Broncos went from the, I think, 19th pick yesterday before the game played to the 14th pick. And I think 2/3 of the league has either like 5 or 7 wins. So everybody's just ganged up, gumbled up in the middle. It's unfortunate for the Broncos to lose this one, because it's another divisional game they drop. It's another AFC West game they drop. And that's going to be an issue when it comes to tiebreakers at the end. But again, Broncos have what they want in front of them. And if you want to be curmudgeon-y and just give up, Jay, I'm looking at you, Jay, curly hair gang. You're making me sad, Jay. You're making this negative energy. We don't need it. We don't need it. We need some positive vibes coming out of this win. No, Jay, I'm just teasing you. I love you. But that's going to have to do it for us tonight, guys. We're going to get a chance to talk a little bit more tomorrow. Hopefully things will start getting a little bit better for us on Broncos country. This was going to be one of the toughest games of the year, and we knew that coming in, and we kind of prepped ourselves for that. It still hurts when it happens, but 5 more games to go. And even when the Broncos are losing, you guys know, come June, come July, you're going to be like, God bless it. I miss football so much. So appreciate these last few games, playoffs or not. And good things on the horizon for Broncos country. Draft class, I think, showed out again. Broncos are going to have some of the most cap space in football. They got a lot of key guys locked up for the next 2 or 3 seasons. 5 top 100 draft. Yeah, 5 top 100 draft picks. And you are not committed to a bad quarterback. Also, that's something I think, you're really upset about Teddy Bridgewater. You're not paying Teddy Bridgewater $20 million a year next year like Carolina. You got him for 1 year, and it looks like it's going to be mediocre. Guess what? You're flexible. You can move on. Beautiful. Gotta love it.
You got what you paid for.
Really treading water, not what you want, or tedding water, if you will. Not what you want from the position, but better than what you've had, and going to be a little better. And when did you get so positive? What's in your coffee? My coffee is right now, or when I get so positive, I always like to be a little bit of a counterbalance to what everybody's high emotional is. So when people are too low, I want to be a little bit higher. When people are too high, I want to be a little bit lower. And then when you do that, I feel like you kind of strike a nice balance. But that's just me trying to be.
And Nick, I'm the same way, and that's why people don't like me, because I'm always on the other side of it.
Yep.
So just you'll as you get older though, you'll appreciate that.
Yeah. And I get my way too emotionally invested highs and lows when I watch when I watch the Hawkeyes. So that way
But
can
I
be a
call
little
it the
bit.
caffeinated bliss.
Nah,
That's
there we
me.
go.
The caffeinated, yeah, I feel everything's great. And then, in 2 hours when it starts coming down, I'm ready to go back to bed.
Yep, absolutely. And let's Terry Martin, God bless you. Let's go Broncos, win or lose. They're still my team. Things are going to get better. And at some point, Broncos are going to beat the Chiefs. Maybe it's not going to be, it wasn't yesterday. Maybe it won't be this year. Maybe it won't be next year. But God bless it. The law of averages. Eventually, they're going to beat the Chiefs again. And please, whatever football gods or beings or deities that you listen to or you pray to, give me a Week 18 game, meaningful football against Kansas City where there's win or go home implications for the Broncos. I know that's a lot of stress, but we need that. And that would put a lot on the season. But to come out to Week 18 against those guys and to be able to beat those, even if you get blown out in the wild card round, I mean, that's what you want. I haven't had that for years. And God, that would be beautiful to see and just be happy to be there. We got DWI guys coming in last second here. Ethan saying, good show, gents. Thank you so much, Ethan. Appreciate you. Hopefully we were a good calendar balance to what was yesterday. I mean, this Broncos got beaten. It was ugly, but it wasn't an absolute blowout,
No,
right?
if you
I
think
wanted a shot
we're sitting there pumping sunshine, go back and watch Thursday's pod. This, I said it then, I'll say it now. This is what we expected.
Yep.
This wasn't a must-win game. The one caveat on there, I said, if you get blown out and look bad doing it, then that's where it can go off the rails. But I didn't see that. I saw bad offense on both sides of the ball and good defense on both sides of the ball and special teams and a couple, some bad officiating calls go against you. This didn't change the way I feel about the Broncos. Yep. I think they can still. The Cincinnati game to me is the pivotal one. It really is. Take care of business against Detroit, and then the Cincinnati one is going to be pivotal for me.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll see what happens, but 5 more games, and the Broncos are still at 500, so they got a chance. We'll see what happens, and hopefully it'll break the way we want it to. You guys have been awesome. You guys can follow Scott and myself on Twitter. Scott is at Scout Kennedy, and I am at Nick Kendell MHH. If there's any discussions or points in this that you want to keep going down the rabbit hole, hit us up on there. I'm very probably too active on Twitter. I love Twitter. But we'll keep talking football if you guys are into that. Also follow us at Huddle Up Pod and at Mile High Huddle. If you guys are on Facebook, go to facebook.com/Mile High Huddle and /Mile High Huddle Pod. Join the action there. If you guys are listening after the fact or you have an Apple iTunes account, go there, find Mile High Huddle, find Huddle Up, and leave us a 5-star rating for a chance to win some swag each month, as Chad likes to say. And also, say Nick and Scott sent you. The Huddle Up guys are great, but Scott and Nick are my favorite. I can't wake up in the morning without coffee, shower, and listening to Scott and Nick. So appreciate
all at the
you
same
guys.
time.
At the same time, yep. And also, if you guys are on YouTube, make sure you are subscribed to this channel, like it and share it. Hit that bell notifications. That way you know when we go live. We're coming at you live with these morning shows during the season every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday at 7:30 Mountain Time for your morning drive to talk about the game. We'll talk some more Broncos Chiefs tomorrow and start looking forward to Detroit as well in the general landscape of the league. Also, make sure you guys are checking out Scott's channel at youtube.com/C/Scott Kennedy. Scott's got to be encroaching on 1,000 listeners or subscribers.
I'm gonna put the word out across all my channels. Say, listen, I'm close. We're about 75 off. We're at 924, yep. I think.
Yeah.
So
yep.
Good things. Good things.
We're so close. Well, we appreciate you guys. Obviously, unfortunate to see the Broncos lose, but season's still in front of us and 5 more games. Broncos control their destiny still. As crazy as that is, we've been week to week all year. This was a loss, but next week against Detroit, be a win, and then 4 games, everything in front of you. Everyone have a good one.
Detroit doesn't want to win that game. They're like, oh crap, we're getting too close to not having the number 1 overall. We don't want to win this game.
Seriously, and because of that
tie,
pull
up with some hamstrings and some personal problems and mental health, and we'll just walk out.
Yeah, they're Detroit's tiebreakers are interesting because if they win this game, they fall to 3 in the draft. And in this draft, if you are the Lions, if you don't pick 1 or 2, you are in a weird spot because the other positions that make sense that early are a safety. I don't know if I want to take a safety in the top 3. And offensive tackle. You have Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell. So they have to pick 1 or 2 and end up with one of these edge rushers. Otherwise, I honestly don't know what they'd do. And Dave coming in with some, looks like a super here. Last minute stars. That's okay. We love it. I know it's too early to talk about the offseason, but I sure would like Broncos for breakfast over the summer. We're going to be here over the summer. We're not going to be doing 3 days a week. That's the Monday show will probably go bye-bye for after the season is over, just because there's not as much constant news, and we already have other shows as well. But we'll be here in the summer. Don't you worry about
we
that.
did it last summer. We started this in April. So we went over the summer, and this will be a lot easier. I'll have a full year under my belt with Broncos country. So it'll be a lot easier for me. I used to have to prep for summer shows. Now I'm just embedded. Now I know the just osmosis. Now I don't have to prep to sound like an idiot. It comes naturally now.
Absolutely. Well, you guys stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow. Chad and Zach will be with you guys tonight. Choose kindness. Go Broncos.